Thank you. That was awesome. Citizens, patriots, countrymen, I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
Today is the 4th of July. I am an American. 10 years ago, my great-grandfather, whose name I bear, sailed forth from the British colony of Barbados, West Indies, not as a slave, but as a free man who paid his way to a better life. His name is handwritten in the archives on Ellis Island. So what does the 4th of July mean to this Black American? To this Black American, born in Brooklyn, New York, it means that I have every single constitutional right granted to all Americans. Now that wasn't always true. In 1852, 10 years before the emancipation, a free Black man gave a speech called, "What Does the 4th of July Mean to the Negro?" That man was Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, in essence, called it a hoax, an affront, a farce. So much so that he rescheduled his speech for the 5th of July. Now, sadly, so many Black Americans still suffer from generational PTSD caused by slavery and racism and still feel they aren't free. I am an American. I know I am free. Because I am, I stand for the flag. I have never kneeled when the national anthem played. I don't now, and I never will. The flag and what it stands for, freedom, liberty, and justice for all, is an ideal I believe in. I respect those who have died for this country. Besides, the Star-Spangled Banner is a victory song. Read the words. We won. We won. And the rocket's red glare of the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. So what about that racist mention of slavery in the 3rd stanza? You know, the one that says, "No refuge could save the hireling or slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave." Well, Francis Scott Key was actually talking about British mercenaries and slaves. In today's English, what he was saying was, you can't find refuge from us, you mercenaries and slaves. It was run or die. But why were they American slaves on British ships in the Battle of 1812? Well, because the British governor of Virginia wrote an Emancipation Proclamation that said, if you're a slave and you come fight with us, we will give you your freedom. That was 50 years before Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. Thousands of slaves, sometimes entire families, swam or rowed out to the British ships in Chesapeake Bay. Even Harry Washington, one of George Washington's own slaves, escaped. So what happened to those slaves who went to fight for the British that morning when they saw the American flag still there? Awkward. The British lost. Are we all going to be chucked overboard? No, the British kept their word, and thankfully, the now former slaves were evacuated to Trinidad, Bermuda, Canada, and Nova Scotia. Well, that's all fine and good. But what about the Black man today? Today, America's in the midst of a very turbulent moment. A moment sparked by a single shocking display of police brutality captured on camera. Now, the law-abiding majority support the police and trust them to protect the public. I know I do.
Yes.
Shall we continue to support them all and just ignore the few rogue officers? Far be the thought. Nor should officers be shamed into ignoring those who riot and hide among the thousands who peacefully protest. Let's support the good and condemn the bad in both. A government that is of the people and for the people must be held in check by the people. Citizens policing the police by recording arrests has proven to be the most effective tool for justice being served. Now, sadly, Under the guise of the Black Lives Matter movement, some have turned away from the American ideals of faith, family, and freedom to worship the false, fake, fraudulent gods of racism, genderism, and Marxism. In their words, we disrupt the nuclear family structure by supporting villages that collectively care for one another, freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormality. Fortunately, there's another movement for Black people grounded in the traditional American ideals, an organization called Brexit. Founded by Candace Owens, it seeks to restore the prominence of the father in the home, free Black people's minds from the victim mentality and the historic dependence on politicians, government programs, government services, and for our children, the sole use of government schools. Moses led his people out of slavery to the promised land, but because of the Israelites' unbelief in God's promises, 40 years would elapse, so an entire generation would pass away. Only their children reached the promised land. In his 1963 speech, Dr. Martin Luther King says his dream was deeply rooted in the American dream, and that we as a people would reach the promised land. Today, Black, white, yellow, red, and brown people protest together for racial justice. As an American, I want to assure you, fellow patriots, that the deep discords of despair we all feel during these dark days of racial strife will undoubtedly pass away. I believe in my heart that the next generation of Black Americans will get to the promised land. And all of God's children will be free and feel free to enjoy the milk and honey of liberty and justice.
I'm Wilfred Ruff. I am an American. Thank you.